So the minimap game of the year, we went back and forward on whether we would do this. Looking at our lists, Jeremy, I think there's only one answer.
I want to make the case.
Pardon?
I want to make the neon white case, but I am willing to accept Elden Ring, but I want to make the neon white case.
I have a third option.
It's not Fortnite.
No, it's not. It's Vampire Survivors. And this is from a more mathematical point of view, right?
Yeah.
This is the one that was sort of
interesting.
This is like the most it was like, because Elden Ring's high on my list but low on yours. Neon White's high on your list but it's not even on mine. Vampire Survivors is in our top 3.
Yes.
For both of us.
Yes.
That's the short of it. I'd love to hear your case for Neon White.
So okay, just before that, just to touch on Vampire Survivors, I think Vampire Survivors is a really excellent game, and I don't know if it is exciting enough to be our game of the year.
Exciting in what way, Jeremy?
I don't remember moments, I think.
Right, okay.
You're
not thinking back to that one, like the first time you played this character, or...
No.
Yeah, like it's just kind of like a sea of matches.
It's a sea of awesome. Like, I love every moment I've played of Vampire Survivors. But it is a pool. It is a blur.
It's indistinct.
Yeah, and like I can go back to Vampire Survivors at any moment and go and have the best time. But I don't think that I am having a year in games defining time. I think that Vampire Survivors is okay. I'll put it this way. I think Vampire Survivors is exactly the sum of its parts. It is all really solid all the way throughout, and it is not. It is not anything more than what it is giving to you. If you know what I mean.
Right. There's not much room for maybe emergent storytelling or aha moments, or
like not even like not even specifically like, you know, more bespoke things that we look for in a Hitman 3 or in a game that might be a really special game to us as a thing that we think about. You know, when we think about Spelunky 2, when we think about
or Outer Wilds
or maybe Inscription. There are moments in those games that are like really special moments that sometimes are aha moments, but sometimes they are just realizations. Like they are not like, oh my god, I'm shocked. They are like, oh, I see the thing as more than what it is giving to me right now. I think Vampire Survivors is so foundational. It is a brick.
Yeah.
It is
like raw mechanics.
It is fucking solid all the way throughout. And it's still a brick.
I can see the case for that. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. And that is fucking good.
And and there's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all. Not at all. It is why it is very high up in our Game of the Year lists. And it is also why it is neither of our games of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. Funny.
Vampire Survivors, the brick of 2022.
What a brick of a game.
But what a brick.
It's the best brick you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
I don't think it can be Elden Ring. I don't think with how you've received it, it could be our minimap game of the year. It is it is so technically accomplished. It is so well designed. We can see its quality 100%, right? It's there.
So like, I think it actually still can be.
Okay.
Like in the same way that I think if you had pointed to, in the same way that while it is not even nearly your favorite, you could see Mario Odyssey being the best Mario game. Remember when we did that? Remember when
I can see why some people might think that. Yes.
You know what I mean, though. When we did that ranking, at the end of the day, we got to when we ranked the Marios.
It was 64 in Odyssey, wasn't it?
It was 64 in Odyssey.
Yeah.
There's a level of, I understand Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Like I don't connect with it, but I understand it as a revolutionary, like its
importance and why it is received as it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that with Elden Ring.
Yep, for sure.
And I, when I won Game of the Year, I looked at it and went like, of course it did. Like, why did I think it might not have been? Like, of course it's Elden Ring.
Were you expecting more God of War?
Look, I could, if I saw it, if God of War 1, I could see that happening because, like we mentioned on the Game of the Year episode, like the term Oscar bait in terms of Game of the Year, the Game Awards bait, God of War would fit in that category quite well. Like an Uncharted, like a Last of Us, like a Ghost of Tsushima, like there are games that are easier to win awards than others, perhaps. Yeah. Outer Wilds robbed.
100% at all times.
Yeah.
I don't know. Irrespective of context, yes.
Yeah. Elden Ring like makes sense as a game of the year.
Yes.
Like it's like a Titan, right?
Mm-hmm. It just is that impressive. It just is that good.
Yeah. And it's quite immediate all the way through that in a way that like it's immediate in a way that it kind of doesn't actually put itself in the spotlight instantly. The game is grand and the art style and direction is like impeccable, but it doesn't give you that Breath of the Wild moment of you standing on like the cliff edge and being looking across, because you don't start at the top of Elden Ring. You start sort of halfway to the bottom.
Yeah. You get like a bunch of those moments.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
when you first see Limgrave, and then when you get out of Stormvale and you first see Liurnia of the Lakes, and then when you first get to the plateau.
But even then, it's because in Elden Ring, you are at the lowest. You are climbing. You are tarnished. You are
You probably can't do any of these you probably can't do any of these first.
No, you are climbing the mountain, whereas in Breath of the Wild, you are exploring the land. You are the hero.
You're exploring the plain.
But you are the hero in Breath of the Wild. You are the one that is going to save us, as opposed to everybody in Elden Ring calling you like rubbish.
Yeah, what makes you so special? Show us.
Yeah. So it's a different feeling, and therefore the game kind of feels that way as well, where the game climbs up to this monumental level of design almost, where it has used the previous games in that franchise as stepping stones to get to this monument, like this grand level of experience. But they still bring a lot of that, and sometimes they bring a lot of that in good and bad ways. The multiplayer shenanigans is silly.
Totally. Like, it's not resource limited this time, which is good, but yeah, it's still really. I remember that first time we did it. It took us 30 minutes to figure out how to do it reliably.
Yeah, and when it comes to video game mechanics, I feel like we've got a pretty good idea of how to get that stuff going.
Yeah.
And we were Googling it and it still wasn't working.
Yeah.
uh, some of the there's just a lot in those games that is kind of I don't really enjoy the actual crafting and using items in those games to give you buffs a lot of the time. In any of the games, honestly. But I think that's because I don't think those mechanics are really explored that much. Like I said before, this is the most game.
Yeah.
There is every possible game situation.
Yeah, so many mechanics.
Well,
and
also,
it's still got that classic thing of this side quest is locked behind you emoting in a forest when you hear a wolf howl.
Yeah. And some of that stuff is I enjoy some of that in a fucking classic this franchise. And there is respect, I think, to be given to well, they've still fucking committed to it. They sometimes, maybe awkwardness has a flavor. There's a reason people continue to watch David Lynch's weird dialogue scenes in certain shows and movies. It's because no one does it quite like he does.
Yeah.
No one makes a quest line quite like Miyazaki does. My case for Neon White is that it only plays to its strengths.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't get pulled in different places. I'm thinking of this critique that you've had with Elden Ring and these reservations that you have. And even though I only played 2 or 3 hours, I did that one chapter quite thoroughly. And I got frustrated. That wasn't the game's fault. That was my competitive spirit and me hyper focusing on not progressing and not learning more mechanics and also maybe being in a bad mood. And we could talk about how immaculately it's designed, and we could talk about how it's the coolest game this year. We could talk about how maybe the story's a bit weak. I didn't mind it. The bit that I played, it's a bit earnest and a bit schlocky, and that's okay. I was there for that. That was all right.
Yeah.
And, it sounds like they develop it and make something out of it. That's great. I look forward to playing that. I can't really pull away from anything with Neon White. I can't really detract anything from Neon White. I don't feel like it singularly did what it wanted to.
Yeah, but in a way that's so do Vampire Survivors. But Neon White has done it in a way that makes it desirable. It makes it attractive to play and play and play and play. The few times I went back, so the way I started progressing through that game at some point was I'm just gonna go through every level one by one and then go through the whole chapter again, which is about 10-15 levels, and then hit all the ace scores, and that was how I was progressing through a lot of that game. And then I got to about a third left of the game, and then I started to actually maybe I want to nail every level right now, and then I would go back to the previous chapter and go, oh fucking what was I doing when I was playing this? I could.
Right. These are rookie numbers.
Yeah. The ability to revisit it, or to revisit the exact same thing with a brand new perspective, and then excel at it, and have don't get me wrong. There was a level of the game giving you the right
achievement.
Yeah, there was the game giving that feedback. There was level of achievement. There was level of self-satisfaction. There was genuine oh, I felt fucking good when I nailed it. And part of that is because you are the margins for failure are razor thin.
Yeah, it pulls on that mastery and execution thread. I guess Elden Ring does too, but this one does it for as long as you want to do it, and for as much as you want to get out of it. It's practicing
it will support
skill.
Yeah, it will support that and feed you the right feelings to get it right. Because sometimes, like, you know, like there was a level that I did that I was getting the exact same score to the millisecond every single time. And I did it about 10, 15 times in a row and got the exact same time. And then I did it like the 16th time and I knocked off like half a second. And that was when I'd stopped paying attention and I got into that trance, that flow state where like my mind and you know you get that in Elden Ring, you get that in all Souls games where like you like your eyes lose focus a little bit and you're kind of vaguely looking at every aspect of the screen all at once. And you then you actually stop looking at the background and you're just looking at you and the silhouettes of the boss and like and you get into that flow state, but they gave you that state in almost every level. They gave you that flow state in every level I wanted it in.
Yep.
Which was, I don't know how if I can get that and have it in a form of like powder that I could take every morning to make the
they call it ecstasy or something. Yeah, no, I know know what you mean. There's something in play here because we're talking about how it pulls on those same threads of satisfaction and mastery and how it's about getting as much out of it as you want, which you can do in a FromSoft game as well.
Yeah, like I'm trying to do that in Elden Ring.
I think something that allures me more towards the idea of Neon White, because again, I haven't played too much, but from what I have played and from your descriptions, it's the precision of the design that's so awesome.
Yes.
It's the and what it allows for you to experience and what it allows for you to achieve for yourself. You know, it's not necessarily a playground in the sense that it's open a la carte, but it is a set of obstacle courses for you to learn and grow and develop and experience and achieve in and secure and grasp and control and manipulate and master.
Yeah, like the directions, like the direction of the game is like really like kind of impeccable. Like what they decided to make was really fascinating, but the execution is almost more impressive. Because if the direction waned
it's not like there's a whole dud chapter or like
no, God no,
like you only get like half great levels and half good levels, or like 2/3 great levels and 1/3 good levels. It's like there's like a handful of duds, and like by the sounds of it.
I haven't played the game. Yeah, and like those are just like sometimes you're going down a level instead of up. And like that's still interesting the first time you go through those levels because it's like it's like a different twist. But it's like the only reason those levels don't appeal to me as much is because occasionally you have to wait to fall, and I am getting impatient at the speed of gravity at this point.
Yeah,
like which is like that's a pretty cool thing to know. The precision that it takes to build this out, and then the what's the word, the balls to put a leaderboard, I guess. Like the sheer idea that this is strong enough that we'd want people to compete.
Yeah.
And the competition aspect of it between Steam friends is not like part of the game. It's not part of the story. It's not part of the progression.
Yeah, you could take it out.
Yeah. But they put it in. And then I get to like own a level.
Yeah.
Like that level when I'm at the top, like suddenly like that's my territory.
Yeah,
And the
I know what you
moment,
mean.
yeah, like we experienced this when we played fucking the Astrobot game on the PlayStation 5 when the PS5 first came out. You know, like we were going back and forth with each other, and you know the way that game did it so well was giving you that fucking notification. They could just press the button and throw you into
no matter what you were doing.
No matter what you were doing, you got a notification saying like Kerry fucking Palmer beat you in the level in Astrobot. Press here
Get to work.
Yeah, press it. And like I remember, like we've told this on a podcast that I was very drunk at home once, and I was in the middle of doing something
with your housemates.
Yeah, with my housemates, and then I got the notification, and so I stopped whatever we were doing, and I just like had to challenge you.
Yeah. Pissed me off that you did that drunk.
Yes. Oh yeah. Like I would love if Neon White could give me the same thing. There's too many levels to give you notification every time someone beaten you, but like the idea that like I can go back now and have a couple more of my Steam friends have played the game. I can see that they have claimed what is mine, which is at the top of the leaderboard on some of the levels, and I can just go in there and, you know, like to refresh my mind, I'll go through the level once, and at that point, it is seared into my brain what I need to do. It's a pretty intense feeling.
Yeah, and you get it reliably, you get it consistently.
Yes, it is frequent and like you said, reliable, and
it's on purpose.
But it's also never unenjoyable. It makes me want to play more.
Yeah.
There would be a time where I could want to launch that game again just to try and beat high scores and then turn it off again.
Yeah, for sure. I got frustrated with it, but I think honestly I didn't get far enough before I engaged with the time chase.
Yeah,
the time attack.
I think you maybe were engaging with that too early.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you build those soft skills as you play through.
Yeah. Yeah, I should have just powered through. Jeremy, I'm willing to give it to Neon. Honestly, because I think what Neon White gains through its singular focus and it being so tight, just so tight, I think it is worth a lot. Not to say that it is inherently better because of that.
No.
But there is a bit with Elden Ring where I'm just like, oh, yeah, this is more Elden Ring, you know? Oh yeah, this is a tomb. I can do a tomb. Hey, it's another Erdtree burial watchdog. Cool. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, like
not at all.
It wasn't necessarily a problem in Breath of the Wild. Some people did have a problem with it, but like in Breath of the Wild, when you get to your next combat shrine and you find just another like tiny guardian with like different like an axe and a sword and a shield, right? Like those were different and unique, and sometimes there was water on the floor, so you could use your cryostasis ability, and sometimes or like shock arrows more effectively, and all of that. The game's still excellent, even if you start to get tired of the bits that they repeat because they made a game so large.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily this one's open and this one's not. This one's big and this one's small. Like I don't think that's what makes it the win. But
it's not better because
tight it is.
Yeah, it's not better because it's not an open world game. It is just an execution on a more direct focus that can like show itself off like more effortlessly, I guess, right? Like, you know, like
like the whole point of the game is sort of enjoying how well it's made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like this level is made for you to go nuts in. We made this way. Yeah. And you can just go nuts in here. Have fun.
Have you seen Everything Everywhere All at Once yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, so one of the things that is so wonderful about that movie is that it is it is a movie about how good this movie can be, almost. Like it is such a pleasure of a film.
Yeah.
It is such a movie that is in love with itself, and such a singular idea that commits to itself all the way through. And like, that's not to say that it's like a better movie than Lord of the Rings, because Lord of the Rings is a second in the franchise and has to do a lot of stuff to set us up. Like, but also it kind of is, because it doesn't have to do that stuff.
Yep.
You know, Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers being the second one doesn't mean that it's weird. Like it's a weird thing to have to try and manage. Elden Ring, while like you said, it's more Elden Ring when you get to more Elden Ring.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, it's also more Souls.
That's true. That's a really good point.
It is more...
It did feel very familiar after not very much time with it.
Yeah, like it is another one of those games, and it is a revolutionary one of those games in its genre.
Yeah, in its context.
And, you know, I think probably fair to say it is a redefining Souls game. But it is another one.
Yeah.
And there's not much really like Neon White. There are some games like it. You know, I think Devil Daggers is quite close to it.
That's a good score chaser.
Like mechanically speaking.
Yeah, and there's so many like time attack different things that you can point to. But yeah, this one feels like it's low pressure as well with Neon White, because it's got that story element to it too. So you can enjoy just getting to the gold standard and then moving on.
Yeah.
You don't have to engage with it at that level. And then if you want to, that level of mastery is there for you. As opposed to something like Devil Daggers or like Geometry Wars, or I'm struggling to think of a proper time trial game, but as opposed to those ones where it's the point for you to be good. And then when you're not being good, you're failing at the game. You're not failing at the game if you don't choose to break the sequence in Neon White.
Yeah.
You're just engaging with it differently.
Neon White.
Neon White. I think so. minimap.com.au's 2022 Game of the Year is Neon White.
I'll make a Photoshop.
You'll make a Photoshop?
Yeah, I'll make a Photoshop of Neon White, Minimap's Game of the Year.
It's like someone saying, I'll make an Excel.
Yeah.
Like you gotta make a video for someone, and it's like, I'll make a Premiere for them.
Well, what it's actually like is you know, like everybody's mother saying, I'll make a Facebook about it.
Yeah. I can't wait to Facebook about this.
Yeah, I said I'll make a Photoshop because it's 10 to midnight and I'm fucking exhausted.
Did you Twitter to your friends today?
Yes.
That wow, I did not expect. I thought we'd be over and done with that final deliberation, like about 10 times faster than we were, but I did enjoy pulling that apart and smashing them together.
Yeah, and we weren't like being stubborn about it.
No, we were just exploring.
I didn't think we were, but it was an open discussion.
Indeed. And you know, when I was like, I'm not sure if we split it in two, I'm not sure if we'll have the You said we always go long when we do this.
We always go long.
Yeah.
Just this episode is 3 hours.
Yeah, I know. And you got your bonus episode, everybody. Thank you so much for listening.